Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you from wherever you're joining the podcast today of the R4D project, the Municipal Solid Waste Management project funded by the Swiss National Science Foundation. So today we are quite lucky to have an esteemed guest from Nepal to join the podcast, who also happens to be a lead partner of the project in Nepal. So I'm very happy to welcome Professor Bishnu Upreti to the podcast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Milit. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, sir. Thank you so much for taking out of your busy schedule to join our podcast today. I know that you're extremely busy and you're an extremely important person in Nepal. So we are very glad that you are a part of the project. And also, again, I'm thankful for you to being part of the podcast today. So I know that that you're a very prominent personality in Nepal and you have contributed significantly to the research scene in Nepal. But for our viewers to get to know about you, can you please do a bit of a self-introduction, a brief one, about what you have been doing in the last 30 or so years?
Thank you. I am sociologist, public policy researcher in Nepal, engaged in the public policy related research for several decades. Currently, I am working in a think tank institution called Nepal Center for Contemporary Research, where I am serving as the director as well as the senior. Until few months back, I was heading the Nepal government central think tank called the Policy Research Institute, and I just retired from there. In my 42 years of career, I have worked a lot in a global and regional project in the different regions. Several years I was South Asia regional coordinator, very actively working with universities in India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And then I also serve as a co-investigator, co-applicants for different global projects with the Swiss University, British universities, and many other universities. So basically, I am a researcher, very actively engaged in public policy related issues, and I am also part of this R4D municipal solid waste management.
Right, sir. Thank you. Right, sir. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me, sir. Sir, thank you so much for joining with us today, as I told you before. And I'm quite grateful that you are part of the program because, as you can see, our viewers now, I think they have an understanding how influential you are when it comes to research activities. That actually had made our life quite easy in working through different difficulties that we experience, even not just in Nepal, but also with your experience, you helped us, especially in Sri Lanka and India. You've guided us in situations that have created complications for us with your experience in field work and data collection activities. So let us talk about the project a little bit, sir. So I think the most important thing for me is to get to know how you became part of the project and why were you, how were you inspired to become part of the project? Because solid waste management can be a topic that that people usually overlook a little bit. Otherwise, in South Asia, in third world countries, people are quite concerned with poverty, then disability, then violence. So, why did you decided to join into a project which studies solid waste management?
Thank you, Melis. Basically, there are four interrelated reasons why I am inspired, why I am engaged with this project. First and foremost, I was working with the Swiss University network for several years, almost 25, 26 years, working with different professors, different universities, and in different collaborative project. And one of them was also R4D within the Research for Development package of the Swiss National Science Foundation and Swiss Development and Cooperation Agencies funding project. 3 or 4 projects I was co-applicant, co-leader, and implementing in Nepal. So that connection linked me with the Professor Rene Veron, who is our project leader at this project. And then right from the beginning, in the conceptual part, we are engaged. We met in Colombo. We discussed different partners and then planned the project. So right from the inception of this project, the conceiving idea, I am engaged supporting to Rene and other teams. That was the first. The second one was the nature of this research project itself, because you see, Kathmandu is well known for the tourist place. It is our capital city. And also, we are severely suffering from the mismanagement of the solid waste in Kathmandu. And so it was always a concern for a researcher working in the public policy like me. So I thought this is an excellent opportunity to work and to contribute to address these challenges. So that was my second part. So we can increase the number of even tourists if our city is clean, because Kathmandu is a quite a touristic city as well. The third one was the nature of project itself. You see, it has a very nice combination of the regionality. We can collaborate with the 4 different countries. It has also excellent focus on the bigger cities where the solid waste management is a real concern, and there is a relative success and differences in managing solid waste in different cities in these study countries. So that was the third interesting part. And fourth itself is also the research question and the focus and the team composition. It was not only the academics, it was also the practitioner. It was also the combination of academic and the practitioner collaboration, very directly engaging with the key stakeholders like the government and the solid waste worker, etc. So these are few of the reason why I was quite interested, and it was excellent decision. I joined this project and I work with that. It is a quite of the satisfaction.
Thank you so much, sir. I think all the key points that you pointed out actually shows how important of a role, how important solid waste management is when it comes to the day-to-day activities, and also daily functions of a city, especially of a city of the significance of Kathmandu, and in Sri Lanka of the size of Colombo, how significant it is. Often there's this thing that people overlook solid waste management, as we like to call it in our project, out of sight, out of mind. As long as the cleaning happens, we are quite happy with it, but we don't really care about it. So I think all your points that you pointed out here, sir, are quite valid, and I think most of the time these could be the key reason why also Rene also thought of coming up with a project to study the solid waste management in South Asia, because that has not really happened in terms of sociological approach has not been done towards solid waste management. So, sir, secondly, I think it would be quite important for us to get to know what are the key findings that you have derived from the project since 2018, because we know that you've done a barrage of work in Nepal with the support of your team. So can you share with us what are the key findings of the project?
Thank you. Yes, there are so many key findings, interesting findings with great policy significance. It may not be possible to cover all, but I will pick few of the important ones which
Yes, key
I
ones, yes.
realized is relevant to share with the wider audiences. First, The municipal solid waste management is not a linear type of the management system prescribed by many scholars or the practiced by the centralized policy makers. It is a quite a complex, complicated, demanding multi-stakeholders interest, and at the end, basically it is a negotiation. So first and foremost, for any of people working in the solid waste research or in the policy making must realize that it is a quite complicated, complex, interesting, and therefore negotiation is the key to facilitate better management of the solid waste. That is what I learned in Kathmandu. There is such a huge tension between the federal government, provincial government, and local government, tension within the communities, tension with between the producer, waste producer, and the people of the landfill side, tension with the transporter, tension with the informal solid waste workers and others. So it is a basically huge, complex enterprises to be negotiated and managed properly. That was my first lesson. Second lesson, economic motive is the first and foremost powerful instrument to manage the municipal solid waste. The emergence of the private sector and their work and innovation coming to the solid waste, all are derived from the economic benefit. So it's a sort of win-win situation for the community, for the local government, and for the private sector. That is the second lessons I learned. Very unique, innovative models are applied in Kathmandu nowadays. One good example is Khali Shishi, the empty bottles, which mean the Khali Shishi, if you look that enterprises was awarded at the Asian level. And so the second point is that economic motive is the win-win solution for solid waste management if handled properly, and private sector is the instrumental. The third is the pace of innovation and pace of challenges coming in solid waste management are far ahead than the policy capacity of the state. Their state is always behind in responding to the policy, in responding by legal provision, etc. So challenges are faster than the policy, and therefore the flexible, updated, rolling type of the provision are always necessary. Rigid, top-down policy with more regulatory provision will not be effective. That was my third learning from this project. Fourth learning is that local government who are very close to the communities are far better, far efficient, and far instrumental in handling the municipal solid waste management and other waste management than the provincial and federal government. Therefore, the strengthening the capacity and ability of the local government is must be the priority of government to properly address the municipal solid waste management. The fourth lessons is that our nature of the project was also in that line, that some sort of natural calamities or some sort of shock can lead to the efficient management of the solid waste and innovation in the solid waste management that we have frequently observed in Kathmandu, also in other cities. As a member of the project team looking to the other countries, that is very clear. For example, once there was an Indian blockade to Nepal. At that time, we have shortage of everything. Fuel was not there, food supply was disturbed, everything is disturbed. And at that time, the people developed their own micro solid waste management system and practice in their own community, in their own locality, and also the segregation and other thing they have started. And later they have started reusing, recycling, and even later it became an industry. For example, small scale cottage industries to produce the material from the solid waste. So this sort of the innovation is also coming because of the shocks and this calamities. So forth. That was. And also the sixth learning for me, it is almost obvious in everywhere, and that was further reinforced from our study as well. Role of women is higher in the solid waste management practices, mainly the segregation, the dealing with the waste, etc. But decision making is still male domination practices. So that continuum, it has been changed, somehow changed, but still the male domination in decision making and management by the women is the common concern we observe. The new actors emerging in solid waste management, like the private sector, very young entrepreneurs, individual informal groups are organizing and forming the cooperatives and working collectively to address that. So these are few of the innovative practices that can be replicated, that can be used in other municipalities as well, and also incorporate into the national policies to inform and to back up these innovations. So most important gap so far I realize is the um, different pace between the responding responsibility like the state, because they are slow in supporting, they are slow in providing the more facilitating rules and regulations, and challenges are more faster. So that pace, it is a big challenge for the public policy maker, decision maker, parliamentarian, and the politician to look to that aspect, and their role must be to facilitate the innovative practices in the solid waste management, to help, to guide, and to promote the private sector if they are coming and helping, and also to invest in the awareness and sensitization about this R 4R principles. Thank you.
So I think, sir, you have made a very significant point here. That is, the R4D project have enabled you to learn a lot about the solid waste management activities in Nepal, and also it has sort of brought forth these little nuances that usually that we do not look at when it comes to solid waste management, such as this decision making in solid waste management related activities and how things function, and then also these shortcomings of local authorities and also the authorities responsible for waste management. So naturally, my next question would be, it is clear that the project have been quite beneficial to Nepal in general. But what are the key benefits that you can identify that R4D project has brought to the project partners, specifically to Nepal?
Oh, yes. There are few very direct benefits. For example, first, I was the co-applicant of this R4D project, working with R4D for 2 years, 1.5 years. Then the cabinet appointed me to head the policy think tank. I went there. But still, I knew what is happening there, what was the key findings, all that it was possible for me to integrate into the broader policy perspective. So it was quite a helpful tool for me. The findings coming and the ongoing research, and also the adapted interest to look further on the policy issues, were quite a cyclic form of helping to integrate it and feed to the policy. So this project has a direct contribution to the municipal solid waste management policy, because the Ministry of Urban Development was quite active, and we were working together there, and there we were able to contribute in that way. That was one. The second one, the partners, the collaborating partners, we have different partners, and some of the collaborators were also from municipality, helping us, guiding us in the research, facilitating to the administrative procedure, etc. And they were able to understand how complex and complicated is the solid waste management research, why researchers are doing this research. Often there was a very misconception in this country that the researchers are the worthless people. They are spending time in their own, with their own interest and resources, and we need the action, etc., etc. But once, right from the beginning, we were able to bring them on board. In the inception workshop, all were gathered together, full day we discuss and we share the perspective, and we incorporated their concern because they are the action people. So they have day-to-day difficulties. And then these issues also we have incorporated into our research system. And because of that, their attitude is also positive towards the research. That is, in fact, a quite important pragmatic aspect. The third one is the capacity building of our non-governmental, non-academic partners. They were also quite happy with this project because we intimately engaged them into the research process as well. We actively engaged in the dissemination process. So in that way, it was also helping to build the capacity. And most important issue was the concern we were able to raise from the informal solid waste worker, women, and other key stakeholders. We were able to provide some sort of the options and alternatives for the government to choose on addressing to the tension and conflict between the people of the landfill side and the municipalities. So in that way, in several sense, this project has contributed. But what we don't claim, it is not only because of us. We were a small contributing partner with a significant result we can show. For example, we have a very critical survey we have conducted in one of our research site, and just the research is published. And there we have documented the evidences, and we visited to the local elected representatives even few days back. In fact, 3 days back, we were with the local government people, and we discussed with them, share with them the finding, and they were realizing the findings of this research are how important for them, and they promised to engage and further support us in this type of the problem oriented, solution oriented solid waste management research. So it has that type of the advantage. And other advantage is we have also a very nice network developed in the region, like you, like Nisara, and so many other colleagues in Sri Lanka, in India, in Switzerland, all committed people. And also theoretically, personally, I learned a lot. So the benefits of this project to different category of people in the different scale, including the local communities, local government, central government, public policy maker, and fortunately, because of my engagement in the highest level policy making with the Prime Minister, Minister, and secretaries during my tenure in the Policy Research Institute, I was using many of the findings from this research project, learnings from this research project to that part. And I was frequently visiting to the landfill site several times. We were able to visit to the India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal, all landfill sites. So that gave me a more confidence on the practical issue as well. It was really good.
Yes, I think I also agree with you, sir, that the project had multiple benefits. Specifically for me as a young researcher, I got the opportunity, me and few other young researchers from India and Nepal also got opportunities to build networks with you, with you and Renee, and also other senior researchers, which we would not have gotten if we were part of the other project. And also, I think another key factor, side that I quite agree with you, is that usually academic research is quite limited to academic circles. I think one good thing that R4D project has done, and also I think the Swiss National Science Foundation also have a role to play in it, is that to bring in non-academic partners also into the project. Just in your case, I think Sudarshan's organization, CIUT, plays that role. So that so for the viewers, that in addition to academic partners from all the countries in India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Switzerland, we also have action partners who are usually non-governmental organizations who are working at the field level. So I think one of the aims is to actually bring our findings and our activities to the ground level, and to utilize the services of the action organizations to to sort of give back to the community the findings that we have, and also to share our expert knowledge. I think, and thirdly, for me, sir, from my side, the other great benefit is to sort of co-learn from South Asian countries, which doesn't really happen. We got the opportunity to visit Nepal, and then of course we had a great opportunity of going and visiting Sistol, and then also Kirtipur, and we had the opportunity to meet with the mayor and discuss with what's going on, and we had a wonderful time in Nepal. Thank you very much for that also, sir. So other than just doing research work, also we got to know Nepal as a country, how friendly the people are, and also it's quite easy for us to get rid of the stereotypes that we have. So I think that's another benefit, that even though that is not a direct intended benefit, but that is also great. So I think so we have come to the last part of our conversation. I would like to also sort of get to know from you what are the future plans that you have in relation to the project, and what sort of sustainability activities that we have. I know that you will be talking about the Spirit project a little bit, which is also a project that have come out of the R4D program, and also which is also studying the solid waste management activities in Nepal and Sri Lanka closely, especially in relation to COVID-19. So I would like you to, sir, give a brief account of what will be the sustainability plan for the project, and how Spirit has also played a role in it.
Thank you. Now, as you said rightly, the spirit, which is offspring of this project, which task in the coming 2 years will mainly be ensuring that the spirit of the R4D project to make sustainable means to integrate with the government system, to help the local government to internalize in their own system, which will be strengthened in the remaining project. We will also bring different type of the outputs, the policy relevant outputs. That is quite important one, and also it will bring the key stakeholders together and then share the latest finding, because this several years of the changes recording and sharing is quite important to look how progressive or how regressive they are, what are the new challenges, etc. So this project also provides that, and the remaining publication, and particularly this project, the R4D also faced the serious challenges because of the COVID in between. So it has altered many of the solid waste management practices in terms of institutional architecture, in terms of the public discourses on the solid waste, in terms of the solid waste value chain. All we are critically examining and documenting them and debating and discussing. It will provide the input for the academic circle, academician and the researcher. It will provide input to the public policy maker and the local municipalities, and also the practitioner and community. So these are the some of the possible activities for the 2025 when SPRIT project will complete. But we should be looking beyond that. We have the very strong network with the like-minded organizations, academics, and the issue will be always there because of its nature. In fact, I was hoping, and hopefully our team, broader team, will gradually realize to look further for some sort of long-term engagement in this issue, either through a sustained separate mechanism or through the project basis, what we are doing now. But it is important to look and to examine further on the solid waste management policy and practice, how they are interacting, what challenges they are facing, how they are addressing. That is quite important. How to engage the key stakeholders of the solid waste in the decision-making process is quite important to explore. I am not much interested only to those type of the research which only focus on research findings, but it's not an innovation, but the practices we have frequently adopted is to bring the action in the project. So this action part is quite important, and that we have to continue. That can be continue with the further exploring the economic dimension of the municipal solid waste management as a project basis, and we may have to work together to collaborate and work. Even we can expand to this network to the other bigger cities like Lagos or in Cochabamba or any cities. We have to look for that, because the individual single case specific research will not solve the problem, and to better understand and also to argue. So for my interest is always to explore the projects. Long-term project means 3 to 6 years of project. Engage young researcher, mainly academics from the university and research institute, and also engage the solid waste management stakeholders like the municipality, and form a type of the consortium and work.